Welcome to the University Park Improvement District recorded meeting records. The board tried to delete these from the internet, claiming it cost too much to keep them saved on Zoom, so now they are here uploaded for free on YouTube. Meet the board members: James Slaymaker, the lying hypocrite; Joanne Zahner, who joined the board because she was upset her neighbor had more cars than her; and Sarah Dole, who agrees with them that it should be illegal for women to be topless.
Yeah. They've been talking about that, but I don't know what it is. Yeah.
And I do have an agenda. Do you want me to go give it to the officer?
Yeah.
Say it again, I'm sorry.
A blank agenda without your notes. Do you want me to go give it to the officer?
Yeah, do you have one? Yeah, that way at least he knows how long it's here for, if nothing else. That'd be good.
Remember that? Oh, no. Looks a lot better. It looks like it's covered in. Actually crumbled up. I know. And then the frost's been underneath, but there it is. Yeah. Yeah, it's good. That does, that's fun. Yeah, I was like, what is that? Oh, so there's a frosting in the finally red.
All right, we're gonna get started. It's a little after 7, June 11th, 2024. Notice all attendees will need to state their first and last name on the sign-in sheet or have their first and last name displayed on the Zoom meetings. This is for proper record keeping of the UP public meetings. If your first and last name is not displayed properly on Zoom, you can provide it in the chat or speak it aloud at the start of the meeting. If your first and last name has not been recorded by 15 minutes after the start of the meeting, you will be removed from the Zoom. This meeting will be recorded, including both live and Zoom audiences. Your discretion is advised to adhere to proper record keeping. The audio and visual recordings will stay active throughout all Zoom meetings. So we're going to call the meeting to order. Board members James Slaymaker, Joanne Zahner, and Sarah Dole. So first, introductions, announcements, presentations, and thanks. So Rick and Kathy Frisbee, they've been working around the flagpole. If you guys were wondering who was doing the work, just sprucing it up. They planted some flowers. They ended up, paying for it themselves. They didn't want reimbursed, so we appreciate their effort. It looks nice. Jack Bev normally did it all these years, but it's just too much for her to do anymore. So if you guys see Bev and Jack out, you might say hi to them. Don Turner, thanks for burning the burn pile for us and pushing it up and cleaning it up afterwards. Thank you, John Cassidy there, for repairing the boat dock and those who helped get it in the water. And then welcoming the community members that are present, and there are none here. Are there any online new members?
Not new.
All right. Audience comments. Please stand and state your name before speaking. Keep comments to under 5 minutes. Be brief and respectful of the board and other community members. Audience will have the opportunity to take part in discussions of agenda items in the order that they appear on the agenda. Does the audience have any comments at this time? Yes, Carla Slaymaker.
I'm Carla Slaymaker. I'm wondering if we can get permission to have a run on the Saturday, the 6th of July here in the Gulf Shore. We don't need any money or anything, just want to put it on the calendar.
Say if people are dumb enough to run, they should go do it.
Especially on July 6th.
Yeah. What do you guys think? You good?
That sounds great. Right at high noon or somewhere sweaty.
No, we're gonna probably aim for 8, but we'll put the word out for the time, but I think it's
Saturday, July 6th, fun run.
fun run.
Fun run. That's an oxymoron.
Did you
But
see
it's
how
a little bit more challenging course, the one we do in July versus the turkey trot. So just if you haven't done it before, it's fun. It is really.
All right. Any other comments? How about online?
No comments online.
All right. So approval of the May meeting minutes and financial report. So they're on the website. So are there any comments from the board about either of those?
I have a couple comments on the financials. It was asked last month what the total spent on the boat dock fixes were for the year. or for this spring, and it was $1,692.39. And then I also just wanted to mention that over Memorial Day weekend, just that like 4-day weekend, the cash box had $65 in it from disc golf, which I thought was a pretty big weekend. So I thought
Yeah.
I'd share that,
That's good. That is good.
not counting annual memberships. That was just daily fees.
Oh, yeah, I saw another annual membership came in too, so it's good. Okay, yeah, you got anything, sir? Joanne?
No, I didn't.
Any comments from the community on those two issues? Any comments online? Oh, any additional comments?
I guess I have a last comment. Previously, we've been taking the $100 that we get from the Kansas Broadband Internet Tower that's on top of the water tower and directing that into the boat ramp fund. But I propose that we stop doing that now that a majority of the boat dock fixes are completed and paid for. And we'll let the boat dock self-fund throughout the summer with the cash box that's down there at the boat ramp.
There is the cash box at the boat ramp.
I put it down there.
When,
After the boat dock got put in, I put it in. So if it's not there, then it's
maybe I'll
been
check
taken.
on that.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, we'll check, cause I did put it in, it's locked, nobody can. We'll check.
Okay, double check on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see it, but.
Okay.
I remember. Okay, because it's on that pedestal.
It is, but you gotta like, the only way to know if it's there to go around the back and to. No, that's not fair. You can look right on top. There's a big old aluminum handle. You should see a big aluminum box in the hole. If you don't see a box there, you see a hole, the money box is gone. There's no money in it. Somebody's really disappointed if they took that box. I mean,
I don't remember when, but I did not see
Okay.
that box.
Well,
I will double check it on the way.
there you go. Yeah, just let me know if it's not there. It's custom built, so it'll suck if it's gone. So, okay. So back on that, I agree. I think the thing should self-fund, or at least we should see if it self-funds. I mean, people donate money specifically for the boat dock, and that's the way, we've done it in the past. I think that's a good idea.
And we can, anticipate, John, correct me if I'm wrong, that we won't need to spend any more money on the boat dock this summer at least.
Correct. I do not anticipate unless there are other factors
Correct.
that come into play, but at this point, everything, I don't expect any other thing.
So those that aren't aware, there is not a bank account for the boat dock. It is the general fund for University Park, and she keeps a separate ledger where she's just mathing out pluses and minuses out of that account of how it flows, just so we kind of keep track ourselves. So there's not a separate bank account. So yeah, I agree with that. Okay.
I make a motion.
Yeah, do I hear a motion to approve the May meeting minutes and financial and this change we're talking about also here?
Yes, I'm making a motion to approve the May minutes and financial report and also change the boat ramp fund to self-fund out of the cash box.
Cool.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, both May meeting minutes and May financial report are approved. So standing committee reports. John Cassidy.
As I mentioned, I don't expect any additional expenditures for the boat ramp for this year. One of the tires on there are two parts of the boat ramp. There is the gangway, the ramp that you use to get down, and then there's actually the dock. That's at least how I look at it. So there's two components. The trailer that we use for the gangway, the two tires on that, one of them went flat completely on us when we were putting it in. I think I can probably get a tube in that for next to nothing. So we'll hopefully get that taken care of. But so I don't expect anything. I do, again, in a couple of years, we'll probably need to replace the decking on it, but not in the foreseeable future. But I do want to bring up to the attention of the board, and I mentioned this last year, and I'll bring it up again, this time with a little bit of data. So as far as the concerns, I had a concern about the depth of that area around the boat dock. So as of this morning, the Corps says that the lake is about 2 feet, just a little over 2 feet above normal. And I went out and took some measurements of below the dock to the bottom of the lake, basically, and to figure out exactly how much clearance do we have on those elements. So starting out at the front of the boat dock, at normal level, it would be 18 inches of clearance from the bottom of the float to the bottom of the lake. At the back of that boat dock, again, that boat dock is 14 feet long. It goes down to 8 inches of clearance. Now, when you get to the front of the gangway, the ramp down there, that front float at normal levels, that will be sitting on the bottom. And at normal levels, the back of that will be 5 inches above. So it'll be sitting on the bottom. So in terms of the silting into the lake, just an awareness, I know there's a concern about the dock and the floats, and want to make sure that they don't get damaged, but if the Corps takes it down to normal levels, the floats, at least to the gangway, are sitting on the bottom of the lake at that point. So no action at this point. Just wanted a piece of information to share that with the board. So any questions?
Yeah, we wouldn't be able to get it out that low anyway. Just gonna have to sit there until the water comes up.
Right.
So,
Great, yeah. So
thank you. Golf course, Jeff Luna.
I'm Jeff, I don't have anything to report.
Cool. Welcome committee. Don Turner, I think that he did speak to Carla Slaymaker lady, and she's gonna speak.
There are 5 new families or people, households in our area. And I talked to Susan and Dawn, and they were able to visit Cody Lewis and Megan McCarthy, who moved into Ponce's house over on Annabelle. And we also have some new people next to Randy Taylor over on Lakeside Drive, Reagan Butler and Austin Bosch. Ryan and Angela Nye are at 11312 Rimrock. I believe that is where they used to raise shepherds. What's a better way to describe that house?
Yeah, with the big fences.
Sarges, yeah.
Used to be Sargers, yeah.
And, sorry, something's in my ear. Lisa and Greg Ledbetter are moving over on Canyon Circle where John and Roxy moved out. They'll be here the 19th. They are not here yet. And Thomas Stringer is at 11309 Lakeview, which is the little cabin on Lakeview that recently sold. So if you're out and about, stop by and welcome our new neighbors and say hi.
Carla, do we have contact information for all of them? I recognize
No.
2. Okay.
Just
I do not. Don and Susan visited the ones that moved in.
Okay.
Cody Lewis and Megan McCarthy, and that's all we have so far.
Okay.
She was gonna try, she said they've had a terrible time catching people at home and. But you know that. So anyway,
All right, thank you. Firewise, Carla Slaymaker again.
I don't really have anything new.
Great. Parks and Rec, Kurt, Kurt's actually at the Parks and Rec meeting today, and I don't think there's any update. He didn't say there's anything coming from him, so. We'll probably know what the next meeting was happening this one. So Sherman Township, Tracy, Sabo,
The meeting's tomorrow night. So,
is it gonna be here?
correct, 7 o'clock.
So it's an open meeting. If anybody wants to come to that, they actually like you to come, welcome to come, so attend if you like. They don't put out an agenda, do they at all? Okay, I used to go too, you're right. I know that was fun.
Okay. The meeting.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
So
Okay,
that starts at 7.
correct.
Golf course prairie management. Laura Mendenhall, discuss requests for a spraying at the boat dock, the county thistle issue, and then whatever else you want to talk about.
Okay, yeah, I'll be brief. So we are actively managing 3 invasive species right now that are found over the golf course. And I'd like to be managing 4. So we are managing musk thistle, which is the big, tall, pink, purple looking thing, spiky. And we're doing that with no chemicals. So we're going out and actually chopping it down and digging it up. We've done over 400 plants the last 3 years. So it is a problem, but we are managing it. And then Sericea lespedeza is another one. It's kind of a low green bushy one. We're doing the same thing, digging it out.
Can you spell that, please?
I'll spell it for you later. And then Old World Blue Stem, which is the grass that's taken over holes 5 and 6. We are having a woman, Debbie Summerhour, she comes out and sprays for that, which I'll talk about in a second. And then there's Crown Vetch, which has really taken off this year because of the rains and cooler weather. So you can see it on the hill driving in on the left. There's also a clump over there for reference. But in talking with Debbie, we were thinking of doing an early summer spray of the Old World Blue Stem to just try and hit it
one time early. She likes to do a late summer or fall spray, and we've had a lot of success with that. It kills the plant, it makes the seeds not viable. But she was thinking if she came out in like late June, she could do crown vetch as well. So I was gonna ask the board if we could get approval to do that. Her prices are really reasonable. I could get a quote, but I'm sure it wouldn't exceed $200 in addition to what we've already approved for the old world.
Would that be the only Old World Blue Stem spray that happens then, or would we do another one later in the fall as well?
We would still do the other one in the fall. Yeah.
Just do 500, cover both of them, hopefully. Have we paid for the one?
Today,
Okay,
Well, so that one was for the burn pile. Yeah. So she did spray the burn pile.
you might say, you know, who is this? You know, I know
Yeah,
who
so
Debbie
Debbie
is.
Summerhour, so she's actually Randy Taylor's mom. And she has a bison ranch nearby, but she also works on Kanza Prairie. And she's got a really solid knowledge of prairie ecology. I really trust her. She prefers to use minimal amount of chemical as possible, which is great, I think. So yeah, I really trust her expertise.
Okay, any comments?
Are you going to speak to your conversation with Mike Buller?
Oh, I did talk to Mike Buller at the county. He's the county weed guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And he thought what we were doing was great. So how we're treating musk thistle, sericea, old world. He said, we don't really need to do any more. Just keep doing what we're doing.
Okay, how about the boat dock? Oh, we want-
So yeah, so ideally the boat dock. There's a lot of kids down there picking the raspberries. So there's a whole hillside of black raspberries, which is kind of a rare fruit. They're really good. And there's also riverbank grape growing down there, which is edible, the leaves and the fruits. And so it'd be great if we didn't spray and could just, if there's an issue with vegetation encroaching, we could mow it. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I agree.
I would like
I
to not
completely
spray it.
agree.
Yeah.
Cause I like those raspberries.
Yeah,
How about comments? Crowd, how do you guys feel about, you want to spray weed kill down the drinking water?
Raspberries are great.
All right, so we're not gonna spray down there. We did spray last year, though. I will say that we did spray last year. But we're gonna try and handle it different this year. Yeah, I'm
What
sorry.
about getting the Corps to come in with the dozer and clean that area up like they did
I can,
across the lake?
I can speak to that.
ahead, yeah,
I
no, go.
talked with Brian McNulty. So he received a grant for 4 areas, I believe, and that was what you're talking about was one of the areas. He said he could request money, but he said it's not gonna happen, not for a couple of years, but we can clean up if we want to, because we use that boat dock area, which I thought was surprising.
Cause if in the past you could never, they wouldn't let you do anything.
They'll let you do something now. He
But
said,
it's a bulldozer.
yeah,
You're right. It's not even a skid. It'd be a monster.
No,
skid.
it's gotta be a dozer to clean it up.
so he basically said they're not gonna be doing anything. He got grant money for the other areas, but if we wanna do something, we can. I still asked, could you try for that grant money again for us too? And he laughed at me.
Well, you tell him if he brings a dozer up here and parks it, I'll clean it up.
Excellent. All right.
Okay, so any other discussion? Anything online about those issues?
no comments online, so I will make a motion that we approve up to $500 for spraying the spring and in addition to what we've already approved for the fall spraying for Laura.
And I will second that.
Cool. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes.
One question, so the complaint to the county concerning the thistles growing on UP property, has that been addressed or
Well, that was basically what,
I know,
yeah, we're addressing it. I mean,
was there a letter sent out though too, or how?
okay, so that's gonna go into the next thing. So now we're gonna talk about a mowing plan, how we're gonna handle the mowing this year. So one of the things I did on mowing is I went to the county and I talked to, what's the head county guy?
Mike Buller? That one?
Mike Bowler, and he wasn't there. I talked to his assistant and I wanted to know what the county's gonna do for mowing the county road ditches and spraying the gravel on the edges that are too steep that we can't mow. They've done it before. Kind of wanted to get an idea what their timeline and what they were gonna do. It was more than a month ago I was there and they haven't mowed since and I haven't seen them out here. So I will stop back in there. But when I was there, I was informed that there was a complaint made to that department that we were not managing our noxious weeds properly. And that's kind of what Laura was talking about. And Laura has spoken to them And Laura's like our grass expert, weed expert here, and she's spoken to them, and he is comfortable in the management approach that we are doing out here under her guidance and under Debbie's assistance, so. So we're good, no problems there, no
You go
pushback from us.
across over here, across 390 and they're full of this.
Of mush thistle, yeah.
Yeah, I seen that,
Full.
So bad,
Yeah.
yeah.
so maybe they'll get a call too.
And you look across the lake and it's covered with crown vetch, right? Isn't that
Yeah,
what we
the
saw
lake-
today? Yeah.
Crown bench.
But we're doing a good job, man. He said we're doing a good job and no concerns there. So, so that's that. So I will go back in and ask him about mowing the county ditches and spraying that edge that we can't mow. That's a lot to weed eat, to ask somebody to weed eat. So, so Hayward Park, I noticed today, it looks like it started getting hot and the, oxeye daisies are starting to die. So I would say, if I had to guess, that before the 4th, we'll probably be mowing Hayward Park. I'm just roughly timeline. I'll talk to you, Laura, before we do it, but I'm guessing somewhere in that time frame we'll be mowing. So, you know, as a property owner out here, I kind of use that as an indicator for myself. You know, if it's time to mow Hayward Park, it may be time for me to it's the time for me to at least look at my property and do I need to mow my wildflowers too? It's just an indicator, you know, to look at my property and self-evaluate and mow it, because I don't let it go all year. There are areas I let go longer than this, but anyway, so something to be thoughtful of, the rest of community members too. So the golf, I'm sorry, yeah.
Question. So the purpose of mowing Haywood Park is just for aesthetics or?
Yeah, we do it every year. I mean, we'll push the fairways out for one. They'll get wider for the disc golf because they really like wider for fairways. But traditionally, I mean, it gets mowed every year.
It's been mowed as long as I've been.
Yeah, and honestly, it looks good with whatever approach they started when they cleaned that place up. When Bob did that, you know, 100 years ago. But you know, whatever approach they did and they've been doing after that, it is working because that park looks beautiful.
Yeah.
So I would recommend that we keep doing the same thing because it's working. That'd be my thought. I mean, do you got a concern?
I'll hold my.
All right.
Is it about
Real
the
quick,
bees,
one of the things, when I was on the board, this same question was brought up, and at the time it became, like, part of the conversation was, we require residents to mow twice a year. And for us to not mow that, we're not setting the same precedent for ourselves. And that's such a highly visible thing. And so at the time, it was agreed that we should abide by the same pressure that we put on other people. So.
Yeah, that seems reasonable. Okay, thank you, Travis. Yes,
By
Okay.
by that same token, the golf course, all be moved.
well, but the golf course is fairways, it's rough. You know, we have agreed as a community that we're gonna try to manage that differently than we used to manage it. You know, at least for the last 2 years, this will be the 3rd year of this new management style. You know, I think we're gonna run it for at least another year and a half, and then after that, you know, possibly they'll do something, go back to bailing. I don't know, you know, go back to whatever happens, but, you know, I think after 4 years of this, we can truly see if it's something as a community we want to continue. That's what I would say. It's a really good test. So, but good question. You know, and we are concerned, and we have talked about, like when John Martin was here, we spent a lot of time talking to John, determining fire hazard. That's really why we mow out there, is fire hazard. We want the grass to look nice, but we also don't want to burn the place up and burn our neighbors' houses up. So, you know, now that we don't mow everything on the golf course and we don't bale it, you know, it doesn't get cut down every year. It is more of a fire concern. So John went around with us and Laura and marked areas that he just, under no circumstances, you can't let this grass grow. You need to mow it. And we mow that, and we will continue to do so. And if circumstances change or, you know, threats change, if we have to mow it all, we'll mow it all. But
One of the biggest concerns was spreading that Caucasian blue tendency.
But I think that was more of a bailing issue and the spreading, I think. And now with this new approach, it appears, or it's hopeful that this approach is going to work. We'll know more another year and a half and have a really good understanding, but. Cool. All right, so, okay, so that's a weird part. So, in the golf course, you know, we're gonna do the same approach we did last year. We're gonna mow the fairway. We're gonna mow a second rough, you know, just a little bit taller. They're gonna run around with a bush hog on the edge of the fairway to give you a little bit different rough. And, you know, we took all of those tee boxes out. We did it because it's easy for them to mow right over the top. We don't play that much golf out here anyway, and it makes it easier for these guys. They don't have to get off the tractor. We don't have to send somebody out there with a riding lawnmower. It just makes a safer operation. So there's none of those tee boxes. Doesn't mean we should be driving our machines over the top of the tee boxes, which was one thing when you had those tee markers up, it was in kind of a reminder not to drive on them, but I don't necessarily, I haven't seen that kind of problem. So, but anyway, so same approach. Derek Alkaya is going to do the mowing on the golf course, and Kurt is going to do the disc golf. Kurt is going to do the roadsides. Kurt Frederick, if you don't know, and these are community members out here. County roadsides, I explained that already, and I will go see that guy. Hopefully I can talk to him this time. I talked to his assistant. And then, so that's county roadsides. So then, we have a lot of paid lots this year. We probably have, I'd say 5 or 6 people paid to have their lots mowed. And some of these people have more than 1 to 2 lots. So we're lucky in that a lot of the neighbors, the adjoining property neighbors are mowing those lots. And I've been trying to catch those neighbors because a lot of them aren't aware that we University Park are being paid for that. And I'm going to find all these people once I figure it out, it's the left or the right, and I'm going to thank them, because we don't intend to pay the neighbor the money that University Park got to mow that grass. We are not. I'm going to thank them. And then I'm going to be up front and tell them that, we are being paid. Thank you for mowing that. If it's a problem, then we'll mow it with a bush hog, is what it's going to boil down to. But I don't think it'll be a problem. I just want to let those folks know what we're doing and that, we are being paid, because in the past we weren't being paid and those people just mowed it on their own. So, so there's that. We have 2 lots though that are, I'm not sure how many non-compliant lots. So, we are going to start to address the non-compliant lots. There's one on Redbud that hasn't mowed. He's a longtime resident. He is in a long-term healthcare facility now, and he's just having a hard time letting go. And, so we're spending extra effort because this gentleman lived out here for a long time. And we're trying to work with him to try to get his grass mowed without moving him to a non-compliant lot owner and mowing his grass.
Where's it at?
Oh, man.
That's down on Redbud Senior Campus.
He's got a bunch of lots. It's not just the house. He
Oh,
owns the inside too.
Cause I say there's a lot behind our place that a guy in West Virginia owns or somewhere, and we've been mowing it from day one. And I have told him not to pay
Yeah, I didn't know there was a guy back there. I didn't.
because we just treat it like our yard.
Yeah,
And he told us to.
there you go. No, that guy's not on the list. So yeah, if you have adjoining property and you're curious if that property owner is paying or whatever, and I haven't contacted you, ask me. We have a really good list, and I don't mind telling you who's who and what's what. It's not a big deal. But then as far as the other non-compliant lot owners, we're gonna be moving forward with some kind of mowing plan for the other non-compliant lot owners in here. Okay, so then, that's it. Yes,
Derek's mowing the trails.
yes. And Derek is also mowing the walking trails on the golf course.
Which he's done some changes to try to, if something's getting muddy and the grass isn't growing back, he's just tried to redirect those a little bit so that we can get the ground opportunity to recover.
Yeah, walking trails are not for mechanized vehicles. Do not drive mechanized vehicles on the walking trails, please. Okay,
Is there gonna be, John,
Yeah.
is there gonna be talk of putting signs on what is a walking trail and what is not a walking trail?
yes,
Yeah, so
That's-
Warren Hall, Craft Committee, Jeff, we should chat about that because, yeah, folks have asked, like, where can we go with our golf carts? So I think that maybe we could collaborate, your committee and my committee, and make a map. Is my solution to everything in that.
You have some kind of map already, don't you?
I have a map of the walking trails
you
And
publish it.
we,
Golf carts and stuff on the golf course.
on the fairway.
Keep
Yeah,
it
like
off
I
of the,
agree.
keep stuff off the banks
but
that are motorized.
getting from hole 8 to 9 though is confusing. Because you do have to get on the path.
Yeah.
So,
There's a
yeah.
couple places, right?
Are you saying you don't want golf carts on in the rough? Like looking for their, playing the ball, looking for their.
Well, I think we had a rule saying, if
No.
you're looking for a ball, that's fine, right, James?
We never had a rule. We had a discussion as a community, and I didn't get a weigh in solid from 2 people. Okay, so if two people don't care enough to talk about it, then it's not worth putting signs up about it, you know, I mean, that's the way I look at it. So I think that's a big deal, and I tried to begin a discussion to see where we were at with that as a community, and I didn't really see that anybody was that concerned. The most concern is we want to be able to drive on the rough. You know, I didn't get a lot of concern about, you know, keeping people on the fairway only, so I don't think it's not a slam dunk, and I would be hesitant to get in front of that one. What do you
Is
guys
Mike-
think?
Scatter with signs.
I'm sorry?
We don't need to scatter the golf course with signs.
Yeah.
If people can't think enough to stay out of certain places.
But what places are those?
Yeah, because is my cart okay with the 8 carts around it? Can we park there? I did
Yes.
pull up there. Okay,
So it's just a matter of, John, we continually told, don't drive on the path, fine. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, can we make some
without
kind
that-
of sign that we post, like a map, where that map is?
and laminate it.
Yeah, Laura, again, we did talk about using some kind of tape or whatever to highlight the walking trails. Yeah, on that map, or at least whenever we remake that map after the sewer, having the walking trails on there.
Yeah, that's
That's a
true.
great
The
idea.
walking trails will definitely be on the new map.
Yeah.
When the new sewer lagoon's in, because that changes the whole, all those maps are done. The disc golf and the ball golf will have to be redone. So,
Sorry not to be a pest here, but what happens when the walking trails change?
well, when he changes them 2 foot. That
Yeah,
map would
that's
still
not a big
work.
Change.
Okay,
You know, he just sliding to the left because it got muddy or a tree fell on it or spotted tick flea or some endangered species lives there.
Good.
That Laura found. It is a problem. There's no doubt. We've been talking about it forever and we have no solution. Because you know why there's no solution? Because it's difficult. And there's a lot of strong feelings about it. So it's not something that I want to jump in willy-nilly on it. But honestly, I really haven't seen a lot of discussion other than at this meeting when it comes up, and that's the end of it. And then nobody says a word about it until the next time or 2 meetings down the line it comes up. So, you know, I would like to see the community. Don't make us decide that. I don't want to own that. I own some other ones, but I don't want to own this one. So I'd like to see the community figure that out and come together and tell us what you think. I mean, does that seem reasonable or?
Well, I don't think anybody, I haven't heard anybody have any issue with when I hear people say no golf carts or mechanized vehicles on the walking trails. I think people get that, don't we get that? So
I
we're
agree.
talking 2 different issues here. That seems like that's a slam dunk. We're in agreement. People just don't know where that is. So address that one.
Okay,
And
so
then
that-
we need to have a discussion about this other one.
That has been published though. You put that on Facebook, I believe.
Yeah.
Is it down here somewhere?
No, it's not down there.
Okay,
I could laminate it and.
we can make a sign.
Maybe
You know,
bring it to the next meeting and people can take it home with them and look at it.
Well, it's on Facebook.
Did it get emailed out too?
Yes.
I think it
Yeah.
got sent out.
If you ain't seen
emailed
it, you didn't want to see it or you forgot, which is fine.
But we can resend it.
But I do think that
And I,
getting one aluminum map thing and sticking it where the other maps are, it's appropriate to put that map there, both
Yeah.
sides, to say where the walking trail in case somebody comes in. So they're familiar, who may not be on that email list. That seems more than
That would be
appropriate.
interesting to know how long is that walking? That's something I'm curious
Yeah.
about.
Ask Funch.
Yeah, it was 5 miles at one point.
It's less than that now. It's,
Right.
Yeah, that would be
it's
something.
like a
interesting.
little over 4, I think.
Yeah,
So
of
it-
course, some of that walking trail utilizes golf cart paths.
That's right.
It does.
And that's where we
Yeah.
need this additional map or an additional on the legend.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then also the walking paths are also on the fairways too,
correct.
so there is some intermingling there.
There is.
Sure.
So the map is also in the meeting minutes on our website, but maybe I could put a separate location on the website that says this is the map area.
But I would look at getting a sign up here. We can get another one later when we need one. Yes, sir, in the back. Did you have something?
Jim Schlaymaker, can we drive a golf cart on Hayward Park?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Any other comments from the community, online, anything? All right. So So okay, that covered all the mowing, hopefully. And then, equipment, Kurt's not here. I mean, the equipment's, I'll speak for Kurt on that. The equipment's in good shape. We're using it. Nope, I did say, I think last week, I thought there was a problem with the riding lawnmower where the brakes didn't work. It has been repaired. It was just a minor thing. It is taken care of. The riding lawnmower is, brakes do works fully function. Firehouse build, Joanne.
All right, I spoke with Bryant Parker. He is new to the city councilors or the county councilor's office. Prior to that, we worked with Clancy. I don't remember his last name. But
Woman.
He didn't do anything.
yes, we weren't getting very far. I think he was overwhelmed. Anyway, Bryant Parker is on board. He said they apologize for how long this has been, this process. He spoke to Russell Stuckey, I don't know if I pronounced his name right, and got a thorough update on our fire station, and then I added in a little bit of what I know. So next step is Bryant needs to coordinate with the planning and development on how to handle, and that is, oh gosh,
Bob Isaac.
yeah, Bob Isaac. How to handle creating the fire station parcel under the subdivision regulations, because they're only gonna take a part for the fire station. Once that is figured out, the goal is to make that happen in the next 4 weeks. He's gonna get us milestones, and he said, we will be on top of this. We will get this moving because they're ready to build. And we can't because we don't have this finished. We've done our part from University Park, but we've been waiting for them to do their part.
The legal department.
The legal department, but he is reassured it is going to move forward, and it's gonna move forward faster than we can expect. So we'll see. Now we have a name, a phone number. He likes to chat, and we can contact him. He'd like to give us monthly updates. Said if you can do that before this meeting, we'll put it in the agenda. We all want to hear about it.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Sewer Lagoon, once again.
So sewer lagoon update, it has been uploaded to the website, so I've just uploaded Evan's email. And this email came from a visit that Sarah and I had just to get updates from him on where it stands. So it's a good update. If you take a look at that, hopefully you can see it. I've got it loaded up there, a lot easier to find those sewer lagoon updates. So we'll always have something up there monthly. And it was a good meeting, I thought. And hopefully we'll see action.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you for going to there.
Mhm.
UP rental management contract. Basically, it's basically on me. I haven't reviewed it to the point of passing it on, and it's a shame too, because August 1st, the lease is up and we should have had it done. I should have had it done. So the board could review it and we could talk about it as a community. So when the new lease took place, he could manage from the new lease forward. So didn't get it done. It's basically too late due to the timeline for August 1st. So it's not going to happen. I mean, we're still going to do this process, but it won't be in place for the new lease.
Does that mean that you already signed a renewal with the current tenants?
We have not.
Okay.
We have not.
What is the date for that?
August 1st.
Okay.
So, we can talk about it, but we weren't intending on raising the rent, or keep the rent the same. So
Do you know their plans? Are they planning on?
last I heard, they were intending to stay, but I need to get in there anyway for a couple things. So I will get in there. I will ask them and get a commitment from them one way or another to find out, what's going to happen. So, yep, that's me. My name. All right. Covenant, let's see, that page 3, 2, 3. So covenant enforcement, I'm not going to get into all the, read the whole blurb, but basically what it boils down to is the latest and greatest is a petition was filed with Riley County Court, and Daniel Maples was served on May 7th, 2024. Maple has 21 days to officially respond. On May 24th, Daniel Maples requested a 14-day extension. So basically the extension expires, could be either today or tomorrow. We wasn't sure if the 14 days was from the date of the extension request or from the date of the original 21 days. I don't know. And we didn't get an update. So if you also didn't see, if you didn't notice it, is on the spreadsheet is we did pay the lawyer. We had to pay him for his service. So that amount is on there. But any questions on that? Cool. We'll keep you informed on that. University Park garage sale update. So, thank you, Jenna. She was gonna coordinate the deal. But there just wasn't enough interest and it was a real short notice is probably the reason why. So, it may be worthwhile to do one in the fall, community garage sale, maybe in coordination with Riley Fall Festival in September or the Hullabaloo with Leonardville in August. So we're gonna need a coordinator. Jenna is gonna be unable to coordinate that. So that's the first thing. If we're gonna do a garage sale, no one on the board wants to coordinate that. So someone in the community that wants a garage sale probably is the first place to start, needs to manage that. So please consider who wants a garage sale and let us know. Because in order to get it in the paper and get on that list, you know, you can't come up 2 days before, it's too late. So let us know, please. Blue Valley Middle School cross-country meet on the golf course scheduled for October 15th. So I did send an email to him. You guys see that email? I sent an email to him and I actually thought about one thing when I sent the letter. So we talked about it in the community. We said you need to have a porta potty. We said you need to be thoughtful of possible security concerns. But I added a thing, is I added that, you know, I couldn't believe how many people were here, you know, with students and adults, parents, there was, you know, I hate to say 200 people, there was a lot of people, well more than 100 people. So I asked the guy, do they come in, do they have their own, you know, liability and health insurance? You know, for all these people, all these visitors that are running on the golf course, you know, I don't know, you know, I assume we're probably covered under our policy. I don't know, you know, but, you know, we're willing to say, yes, use our golf course, but, you know, are we willing to write the check if somebody gets hurt, you know, and do we need to contact our insurer and increase our liability insurance, you know, and I don't know, man, I don't know. So my first question to him is is this guy bringing insurance or just bringing 200 people? So we're going to see what he says. So I did not say in the letter, I didn't say, come on and have your event. What I said is, please answer those questions and let us know. And we can figure it out, you know, nice little thing at the end, but I didn't say, come on, because I think we need to answer that liability concern for someone getting hurt out here.
Have
Okay.
you reached out to our insurance then to see what they say about it? Okay,
Yeah,
that would be a starting place for us to do.
that's good. Good idea, Sarah.
I can do that.
Thank you, Sarah. All right, so let's see, that's done, middle school. So,
Semi-related to that.
Yeah.
If it's okay that I interject, I think there was an event that someone had reserved the pavilion for the clubhouse area for the weekend or for a day. And a different family in the neighborhood came down to use the grill at the same time, and I think that is oops on our part as the board. If somebody reserves the clubhouse area, we should be notifying the community like, hey, this is reserved for this date and this time. Please refrain from using the clubhouse at that time. Like, we should be since we're the one taking those reservations, we should be notifying the community that it is reserved. And I know we've had 2 events so far reserved this summer. I don't think we have any. We've had 3 so far this summer already.
Right.
I don't think there's any future ones on the books right now, but just like we notify the community that if the cross-country meet is going on, please don't be around. We should do the same for our neighbors if they ask to reserve the clubhouse.
I agree.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. What we did plan because of that issue is I was going to have a sleeve set up so that they can put, and I would email the sleeve to when they send me the reservation form. I'd email a sleeve, put this up, which shows you reserved it, but I like both items.
Yeah, the
Now-
burden is on them to put their, you know,
Yeah.
little, you know, birthday party for Johnny
But we
Saturday
can
at 8 o'clock.
Blast
can-
it out on the email chain and put it on the Facebook.
Yes,
Yeah.
page.
we could do
I
that.
think that's easy. That's a great idea.
But somebody didn't get the email, at least there'll be a little placard up there.
3 ways.
Have we been listening to it?
He said it's up to the people that rent it to put up a sign that says.
So email, Facebook, and then a little placard.
Travis Gilbert, is there any way just on the website to have a calendar where you guys just block it out so anyone could go look? and
You are
see?
pushing my skills,
Yeah.
but luckily I live with somebody that might be
We
able to
can
help
also
me.
do
I
that
think I
like
can
on
do that.
Facebook. We can put events on there.
That's a
That
good
way,
idea.
like people
Yeah.
know it's blocked out.
Does Facebook have like a calendar already in it?
Yeah, it
It
has
does.
events and like we could do that. The other thing is like Keith's is really simple where they just print out, and like you said, it's like a sleeve and they just put it in there. So if you go up and you'll see that they have events blocked out.
Yeah, and
Put the date on it.
that's what the point is, the date
Yeah.
and the time.
I just don't want us three to be responsible to put the
Yeah.
piece of paper up there and we didn't get it done.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have an event, put the piece of paper up there, you know?
But I
own
like
it.
your idea, so we
It's a
could,
good idea, Cal.
I think the website, the calendar on the webs, because we already put up like upcoming events, like when the next picnic is, XYZ. We'll put the fun run on there, so we can I can add a calendar on the website real easy. I hesitate to do the Facebook event things just because we would have to invite everybody
Yeah.
to be able to
Yeah.
know about it, and then everyone's getting the notifications that Tripp's graduation is down here. on the
Yeah.
right. You're not invited, but it's down there.
well,
Yeah.
and that's the other thing too. Do we say who's reserved it? I kind of don't think so.
We can just say
personally.
reserved
Reserved,
There
yeah.
you go.
from
That's fair.
such and such a time on Saturday.
Okay,
Yes, Bob.
In the old days, we just used to put it on a chalkboard up underneath the deal and people could see who had it.
where's the
And-
chalkboard? Is there?
Just a small
got
chalkboard
it.
was hanging up there and everybody's stuff was written on that. You could see what was going on.
Well, and I think that way the sleeve will do if I email them a sleeve, I've reserved it for you. Stick that in here. They can stick it in 3 days in advance or whatever. But I like what you said. Take it off of us, but we can website, email, Facebook.
I mean, we really don't have that many events and
Three.
reservations going on
Yeah.
that we need a whole thing about it. I think doing it online and a quick Facebook post would be sufficient.
Cool. Sounds good. Okay, so trees. So, on Highview, both sides of Highview. Have you guys noticed, anyone noticed the trees don't look great? There's like, I'd say cancer, but there's just some, on the west side predominantly of those maple trees, there is some death down to the bare wood. So, it's been going on for a couple of years and it's been getting worse. And I have it in my yard and my dad has it in his yard. So the common factor is me, basically, is what I was thinking. So Dad he couldn't take it anymore. He was worried about he was going to kill the other trees in his yard and he wanted the tree cut down. So we cut his tree down. Long story here. I took the wood samples, put them in a Ziploc bag and took them into Blueville. And I took them in there because I didn't want them screaming at me. I brought disease into their nursery and killed all their trees and they'd sue us. So they looked at it and they didn't really know what it was and they're going to get back to me and they never did. Keep that in mind when you're buying trees from Blueville. So then I go to Horticultural Services and they were very helpful and they gave me what they thought it was and they were right in the end. But they also said, go to the Kansas Forestry Service. They'll help you and they know what they're doing. So I went to Kansas Forestry Service. They're off of Claflin, I guess it is. And they did know what they were doing. And they looked at the little dead tree bark and he said, it is sun scald. Sun scald is what it is. It's the sun beating on the side of those trees. So what's the common factor? Well, what I've done, same thing in my yard and Dad's yard, is I trimmed all these trees all the way up so we can get the mowers underneath. So when you're walking underneath, you don't get hit in the face with a tree limb. When you raise the tree limbs up, the sun beats on the trunk. And when a tree is older, you can get away with that because the bark, this is what the guy's telling me, I'm paraphrasing this, but the bark gets a lot thicker and it can take that sun. But when it's thin like it is now on these relatively young trees, it gets sun scald. So, and then what happens is so if you're all going to go out there and look at the trees, and you should, and what you're going to see like a shadow, a ridge going up. And if you got in there don't do it. If you go in there with a knife though and you flick it off, although the bark looks alive, it is, there's some kind of different layer of bark, a name for it, underneath that top bark, and it's dead. And you can peel the bark like a banana all the way down to good material. So when you have a damaged area on a tree, you get insects and borers and things like that. So that is a problem. We're going to have to treat that, but this is solvable out here. This is solvable. Is we need to shade these trees. So there's no trees, there's no limbs. We need to put something on them. So, Paul Weiler. So he's a dirt digger in Nebraska. He's got all kinds of stuff. I seen him the other day and I told him our problem. I said, the forestry guy said, don't use that black pipe for a couple of reasons. First off, the black is going to grab more of that heat and cause a bigger problem. But also, it holds the moisture inside and you're going to get some rot due to the moisture not being able to be vented through this tree or through this cover. So, I saw Paul And Paul has some 6 and 8 inch white irrigation tubing that is very flexible, that he feels that it can be slit and it can be opened up and closed, but then it's solid. So then we're gonna have to drill some holes in it. So there's some work here, but it's gonna take some work to save 30 odd maple trees, you know, so it's worth the effort to save these trees, because if we don't do anything, they will die. And the damage is done and you can't put the limbs back on, so we gotta treat what we got, and this would work, I feel. And then we need to treat for the bugs. I did fertilize today and I put some iron supplement for the yellow trees and I did all that today, but that's gonna come up. I think Paul was gonna see what he had in it and see if he was gonna donate it, or he may want some money for it. If he does, I don't have a better option than the material that he's offering. I looked, I couldn't find anything. And I'm sure he'd be more than fair if we end up buying it from him. So we'll see what his number is, you know. Yeah, I'm sure it's gonna be very reasonable. And that's gonna happen. He's coming back this weekend. He's gonna bring a test material for us. We're gonna try, see if it works, drill the holes, see, you know, if the plan works. And if it does, I'm gonna put an email out and I'm gonna ask folks to show up at my house with a drill and some hole saws, and we're gonna drill a bunch of holes in these tubes. We'll probably spray paint them gray or a darker, not black, but a darker color to look like the trunk, so they don't have these big white posts on all the tree trunks. And we'll stick it on there and it'll be on there for years. But the Forestry Service, these trees will close back up. The wound will close up over time if we get the sun off of them. He also said we need to water more. So he asked if we watered. I said, yeah. I said, not enough, obviously. And he asked if we watered in the wintertime. Well, I water the tree in my yard, and my dad waters his trees in the wintertime too. So it's not just, we didn't water in the winter and that's why it happened. He said the damage does take place in the wintertime too, because the sun is beating on the west side and the tree on the west side gets warm and this one on the other side gets cold, and that temperature differential causes the same thing to get worse. So, it's not just a summer problem or a winter problem, it's both. So we're going to need somebody to be more of a regular waterer in charge of watering the trees. I did it for a couple of years. Now that I'm on the board, I don't have time to manage the watering of the trees. So, guys, think about who likes trees and who wants to look at the trees down the line, and tell me who wants to go out and at least once a month. To be honest, it should be twice a month, every other week, and put water on the trees. I know they're big trees, but they're big trees in little bitty bedrock holes. I mean, it's not like they're great big holes. So, they're sick now, so water will help them to get better. So anyway, please think about it and let me know if anyone wants to handle that. We have that water tank in there. You hook it up to the back of your truck, you drive it up to the flagpole, you put the hose in it, you come back in an hour, the tank is full. You drive around, you open the valve on the back and you drain it on the trees. Takes 2-hour evolution of driving around, because it takes 2 tanks to do all the trees. Because there's flagpole trees, there's trees out behind the fire station, and then there's the ones on Highview. I take care of these with the hose, but anyway, yes.
Do you know what, species?
Laura.
Yeah, sorry, Laura Mendenhall. What species are the maples, do you know?
Green ones.
Okay.
I think it were sunset and October glory.
Yeah, they're 2 different ones. That's all I do know.
Okay. I guess I would just recommend, and I don't want to take care of, I actually am anti-tree. But
Hey, trees.
in the prairie, yeah.
Well, I hate the prairie.
But, well, okay. But I guess I would just recommend in the future, and this has nothing to do with those trees, but if we are gonna plant trees in the future, to choose a native species like redbud that requires no care and doesn't have the same.
What's that Dr. Seuss children's story where somebody hates the trees? Right there.
Lorax.
The Lorax. You're the Lorax. Yeah.
Well,
No,
she's
the
a Laura
Lorax
for
likes trees.
native,
yeah.
native versus
For
non-native.
yeah.
Native,
Just
yeah.
in the future, and I'd be happy to put together a list of native trees that would be well suited for this area that you don't have to water or care for. But
Thank you.
good luck. Not, no.
Yeah, cedar.
You can cut them every day, all day long, and never run out.
All right. So any more concern or discussion about that? I'll let you know when we need to do the next thing. And, if somebody has a better idea, it's easy and cheaper, let us know quick, because we're going to move on this. So what I do want though is, we need to buy some insect killer. We may have to buy this material from him. I want to get a funding line in place. I mean, I spent of UP money. I probably spent $100 this month on fertilizer and iron supplement for the trees, you know, I needed it and I bought it, but now we're looking at planning something now, so I'd rather, you know, have more of a discussion on this and doing an approval for funding.
Do you wanna do up to a set amount?
Yeah,
What do
whatever,
you
$500.
think?
We won't spend that much, but if it's $499, I don't want to come back and ask for $1.
So I motion that we approve up to $500 to be spent towards maintaining and curing the maple trees.
I second.
All right, all approved?
Aye.
All right,
Aye.
I mean, you know, what's a 20-foot maple tree cost? You know, a lot.
Yeah.
And there's 40 of them out there, or 30 of them. So, okay, cool. Thank you. And then regular tree water, I already talked about that. So any other new business, Joanne? Is there
Yes,
something
yes.
else?
There'll be a Corps of Engineer boat inspection or boat dock inspection in June. So thank you. We'll probably pass it with flying colors, John. That's the only thing.
Okay. Is there anything else? Anything from the community? Yep, yes, Bob.
What about abandoned vehicles?
Yeah,
At one time, the county took care of it,
right. So,
but they have not.
okay, so I will say that I have called the county on abandoned vehicles, not as a board member, as an individual property owner. And the county came out and they looked at it and the property owners had to prove that they had a tag, a valid tag for it. Well, you can't get a tag if you don't have insurance, at least for a day. So they were able to provide the county, it's the zoning and planning, or, you know, I can't remember what the guy's name is, the old cowboy hat guy, it's his replacement. Anyway, and they did come out and he did his job and he got back to me and said, hey, they had proof that the thing was tagged. So you, as individual property owners, if you have a problem with abandoned vehicles, I would say first thing, if you know the people and you want to talk to them, it's always the best way to resolve a situation, but they don't always work. And it's not worth the trouble a lot of times. So call the county up, tell them directly. And then they have an obligation to come out and take care of it. And that's what I would say. That's what I've done. And they did their job in that instance. So I'd recommend it. Cool. Anything else? Anything online?
There's nothing online.
Okay, so, I feel that we need to leave the, meeting open for an executive session with the lawyer stuff coming down here. So do I hear a motion to leave the meeting open for an executive session to discuss legal proceedings?
I motion that we leave the meeting open for an executive session in the future.
And I second it.
All in favor? All right, it's approved. To leave the meeting open for an executive session to discuss legal proceedings. That is it. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for being here.
Only 2 people online. If you look at this, if you just want to jot them down.
I will, I'll jot it down. Yeah, that's okay. I'm gonna go through all the notes anyway.
Sarah, I have something for you. You know that little flags you got?
Yeah.
Inspection is.